Hi, my name's Emily and I'm the Anxious Yoga teacher. Welcome to Yoga for Anxiety Ground. This is a yin style class. It's not exactly like yin, but we do hold poses for several minutes rather than just a few breaths. I find yin to be the most challenging type of yoga. I really like upbeat, keep moving, those types of classes, but yin is really beneficial to me because it's really intense sensation, but you're encouraged to lean into the stillness and in the silence. Now that being said, if you're having a moment of really high anxiety, I encourage you to put on some of your favorite music and maybe sing along as you're doing the practice, or find a mantra or something that you can repeat to yourself if the mind is getting really loud and chattery. That being said, we're going to be focusing a lot on hips today. Particularly, two of the more, I would say, advanced postures are Malasana, the yogi squat, and pigeon. I linked a great article about Malasana down below with several variations, and also I give several variations for pigeon. You do not have to do the pigeon that's on your belly. You can definitely do the one that's on your back. Your props are going to be pillows, blocks or books, blanket, and that's it. Thank you so much. Bye. All right, let's get started here. Today we'll start seated, so make sure you have something comfortable to sit on like a blanket, a block, or a pillow. Find the foot position and leg position that's most comfortable for you, allowing your hands to be down on your knees for more grounding or up for a little bit more energy. Settle in and notice the breath. Ask, is the breath fast? Is it slow, deep, or shallow? What do you see today? And before changing anything, can we let the breath in the body be just as it is? And when you're ready, imagining the spine reaching up towards the sky in the inhale. Sits bones press into the ground as you exhale. Also begin to feel the belly rise on the inhale and fall on the exhale. Putting it all together, inhale, spine lengthen, belly rise. Exhale, belly fall, press down. Keep going with your breath. Go ahead and exhale wherever you are, let it go. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, hold. Exhale, 3, 2, 1, hold. Inhale, 3, 2, 1, hold. Exhale, 3, 2, 1, hold. And keep going with your breath, adding a number or subtracting. Particularly today, we want to have a more calming effect on the breath. To do that, try to lengthen your exhales more than your inhales. If you notice your breath moving away from this smooth, even quality, come back to this count or move out of the posture that's causing you to have a shorter breath. Staying here with your counting breath or moving into a variation of alternate nostril breathing. Facing the palms up and making a fist with both hands. Inhale. Imagine exhaling just through your right nostril and unfurling the right hand, imagining the breath leaving out through your palm. Inhale, curl the fingers in as if it's only going through your right nostril. Exhale, unfurl the left. Imagine the breath only moving out through the left nostril. Inhale through the left, hold. Exhale slowly through the right. And keep going, repeating this, or just moving to a counting breath. If it's difficult to visualize a breath, maybe think of a color going in one nose and in one palm and out the other. But if this is confusing, just skip it and go back to a normal breath. Making sure the shoulders and face is relaxed as you breathe. Continuing to feel the belly rise and fall, taking a few last breaths here. One last deep breath in and out. Let it go and just take a normal breath here. And moving into feet together, knees out wide. Adjust the feet and hands where it feels good to you and settle in. Keeping the back straight, inhale, either staying here or exhale to fold forward. Again, either keeping the back long or rounding down. We're going to start introducing the yin part of class. This isn't going to be exactly like a yin class, but it does have the elements of holding postures for several minutes rather than just several breaths. If you notice your breath becoming shallow or short, back out of your pose. Whenever we're starting out, it's usually good to start at about 75 or even 50% rather than go the full 100% that you think you can go, and easing into it more and more as we continue. Also in a yin practice, it's encouraged to stay as still as possible. If you're working with a lot of different anxiety and it's difficult for you to stay completely still, that is okay. See if you can add a mantra or a phrase to repeat to yourself, or contemplate a place or a person, or even an idea or feeling that you want to focus on. Take this first posture to play around with what feels best for you, finding what gives you the most comfort. And most importantly, always feeling the breath. Maybe that belly rise and fall, chest rise and fall, or the breath sensation of moving in and out of your nose. Take a few moments in silence. Before moving on, notice what your brain did during those moments of silence. If it was very loud, if it was calm or quiet, just notice and try not to force it to be either loud or quiet. See what's going on and see how you feel about it. Always coming back to the breath and coming back to the sensations inside of your body at this moment. Take one last breath here. And let it go. Moving up into fire log pose, coming on the ground to sit if you're seated on something tall. Placing one of your legs to face 90 degrees. The other leg will go on top of a block with just the ankle supported or also the knee. The most intense version of the posture is ankle stacked over knee and knee stacked over ankle. But place different books and blocks and blankets into the places that are difficult to relax and let go, and give them some support. Play around with this here and see if this feels good to you. When you've found the position that works for you, staying here or walking yourself up nice and tall, folding forward, or staying upright. Find your breath here and notice what sensations in the body are strongest. Doing some body scans to relax any extra tension that might be holding on in the body, noticing the head, shoulders, right arm, left arm, belly rise and fall, spine, hips, legs, feet. If at any point you notice something holding on, take a deep breath in and sigh it out, especially for those very intense sensations. Imagine the breath moving out of that spot. If that's confusing, feel free to skip that imagery. Take a few moments in silence. If your mind is busy, come back to the breath, come back to the sensation in this very moment. Take one last deep breath in here. Exhale, let it go, maybe even with a sigh. And slowly start to move to the other side. We're not going to be symmetrical, so one side might be a little bit more tight than the other, but use those blocks and blankets to make this pose comfortable to you. And whenever you're ready, settle in, staying here, or walking yourself upright. Exhale, fold forward, keeping the spine straight or rounded. Once again, come back to the breath. Go through the body scan, this time on your own. If you notice your brain keeps getting distracted, or maybe there's some anxiety building because of the silence, feel free to put some music on, or go back to that mantra or that phrase to repeat over and over again. Take a few more breaths here. Exhaling through the mouth if there's any extra tension that needs to let go. One last deep breath in here. Exhale, let it go. Take your time to press yourself back up. We're in no rush. And whenever you're ready, moving into legs out wide. The legs do not have to be completely straight here. Also using some props to maybe set up a stone hinge for our forehead and face. And wherever you've landed, hands come behind to open up the chest. Inhale. Staying here, or walk yourself forward on the exhale, keeping the back straight or rounding down to fold. Allowing your forehead to rest on your stone hinge or letting it just hang. In this posture, I notice that I usually get tension in my legs and my back and shoulders. If that's the case for you, remind yourself to let those places soften and back out of the pose if it becomes too intense. Find the breath. I encourage you to scan your body and notice what is going on. We're going to be taking a little bit longer moment in silence. If your brain becomes super loud and chattery, that is okay. Come back to your breath, come back to your body, or use one of your other skills to help you in those moments. Come back to the breath if your mind's wandered away. Keep breathing, letting the breath go through the mouth if you need to relax any extra tension. Take one last breath in and out. Let it go. Wonderful. Slowly begin to walk yourself up. Hands come behind to take a deep breath in here and let it go. Whenever you're ready, move into hands and knees, making sure to grab a blanket or a pillow for underneath your knees today especially. Spreading the fingers wide underneath the shoulders, knees hip-width distance apart. Taking some cat and cows here. Inhale, look up to the sky, dip the back. Exhale, round the back, dip the chin, press the ground away. Keep going with your breath. Add some movement into the body, shaking the head from side to side, maybe moving the hips. Take one last deep breath in here and let it go. Moving into some lunging positions, taking care of our knees here, especially making sure we have a blanket and pillow underneath the knee that's on the ground. Bring the right leg forward into a lunge, keeping the left leg back. Either keeping both legs 90 degrees or walking the right foot forward to increase the angle of the back leg. Lifting through the belly and the crown of the head. Maybe that means gently tucking the tailbone in, feeling the connection of inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, the hips relax forward in space. Stay here and breathe, allowing the hands to relax on blocks or books, leaning forward if necessary, but try to stay as upright as possible. Keep breathing. This posture can be very intense, especially when it's held for long periods of time. I encourage you, if you need to, please move or go back to that mantra, the breath, whatever helps support you in those uncomfortable moments. Take a few moments in quiet. If your mind has wandered away from the breath, that's okay. Come back to the body in this moment. Taking one last deep breath in here and let it go. Straighten the right leg for a little bit of a hamstring stretch just to give it a little bit of a break. Go ahead and re-bend the right leg and walk the right foot to the edge of your mat. Place both hands on the inside of your right leg, coming into dragon pose. Playing around with it and seeing what feels best. Either keeping the right foot planted on the ground or rolling to the edge of the right foot. Hands can be placed on the ground or on books, staying here upright or going deeper, allowing the forearms to rest on books or on the ground. Making sure that your spine is long, shoulders relaxed, and you're not holding too much tension in your hips and glutes. Settling in here, find the breath, and go back to your body scan or your mantra. Coming back to the breath if your mind's wandered. Taking about one last deep breath in here. And exhale, let it go. Begin to walk yourself back up if needed and straighten the right leg, giving yourself one last hamstring stretch. Maybe shimmy from side to side this time, kind of shake it out. And release, bringing both knees back in line, shake it out here. Maybe take a cat and cow. And moving to the other side, bringing the left leg forward, remembering that we are not symmetric people, so one side might be deeper than the other. Setting it up, seeing if 90 degrees on both legs feels best, or walking the left leg more forward to create a more severe angle in the right leg. Now staying here, we're tucking the tailbone and feeling tall, exhaling the hips forward in space. Feel the belly rise and fall once again. Feel the connection of lengthening on the inhale. Exhale, hips relax forward in space. Scan the body for any excess tension, and give yourself permission to move out of this posture if it ever becomes too intense. Take a few moments in silence here. Coming back to the breath if the mind has wandered, relaxing any tension that might have crept up. Taking about 2 last breaths here. And whenever you're ready, straightening the left leg this time for a quick hamstring stretch before we move into dragon pose. Go ahead and shimmy the hips from side to side gently here. And going ahead and planting the left foot back down and moving it to the left edge of the mat, bringing both hands to the inside of the left leg. Then setting up here, either keeping the foot planted on the ground or rolling to the edge of the left foot, staying upright or coming onto forearms on books or the ground. making sure that the spine is long, shoulders relaxed. Breathe. Finding any tension, especially in the glutes or in the hips, seeing if you can let that go, especially on the exhales. Coming back to this breath in this moment, feeling the belly rise and fall. And taking one last deep breath in and exhale, let it go. Taking your time, slowly straighten the left leg once again for a hamstring stretch. Staying here or shimming the hips from side to side, stretch it out a little bit. And release. Coming back and removing your props and moving into child's pose this time. Gaining some support by placing the blanket underneath your knees and maybe even a pillow underneath your hips, in between hips and ankles. Find what works best for you. For more of a hip stretch, keeping the feet together and allowing the knees to separate. I sometimes like to put a pillow in between my legs to support my chest. Arms can be long or by your side. Take a few moments here and just let it go. If your forehead is supported by the ground or a book, gently rock it from side to side, giving yourself a forehead massage. And then finally, finding stillness for the next several moments. Taking 2 last breaths here. Whenever you're ready, slowly begin to press yourself back up and moving into standing however is most comfortable for you, making sure you have at least 2 blocks or books at the very top of your mat. Whenever you're standing, making sure the feet are hip-width distance apart, toes spread wide, gentle bend in the knees, lifting through the belly and the crown of the head. Have the hands come to heart center and take a few breaths here. Preparing to fold now, hands come to your hips. Inhale tall, exhale to bend the knees, fold forward, either keeping the back straight or round completely down, belly resting on your thighs. Remember, bend your knees as much as you need to here. If you feel supported and comfortable, grab opposite elbows or interlace the fingers behind your head for gentle traction. Shake the head yes, no, breathe. 。 . . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . 。 . . . . . . . . . Taking 2 last breaths here. And release. Either staying here to release down into a yogi squat or malasana, or coming into standing. I will show you several different variations here. Either widening the feet, the toes pointing towards the corners of the mat, sit yourself down into a deep squat position, hands at heart center, elbows pressing into knees. Now this may not be comfortable for you, and that is okay. Take a blanket and roll it up, place your heels on the blanket, and place a block underneath your seat. Play around with it and see what feels best for you here. If this is not comfortable whatsoever, feel free to take the fold or breathe in standing. With every inhale, feel the spine long. With every exhale, feel your seat relax and your shoulders relax and let go. With your inhale, imagining you are filling up a bowl in the very base of your belly. As you exhale, feel all of your pelvic floor muscles relax and let go. Go ahead and take 2 last breaths here. And release. Either rolling down and sitting and getting up that way, or placing your hands down and pressing yourself from fold into standing. Go whichever way feels the most comfortable for you. Whenever you're in standing, take a moment to catch your breath. Moving to legs out wide, making sure you have a block or some books handy. Placing the hands on your hips, inhale tall, exhale to bend the knees and fold forward, either keeping the back straight or folding down. Shaking the head yes, no, and either staying here in stillness or inhaling center. Exhale to bend the right knee, lunging over to the side. Inhale back center. Exhale, lunge to the other. Stay here moving with your breath, or find whichever side needs a little bit more attention. Stay there, and then move to the other side. Take a few moments to add some movement here, breathing. Taking one last breath here. And release. Tucking the chin, bending the knees, and moving back into a standing posture. We're going to be moving into pigeon pose, but I'm going to be showing several different modifications to help fit you and your body. The very first option is lying on your back, placing one ankle over the knee. The other variations start in hands and knees. First is a Z-sit, bringing one foot in front and the other in back, and staying here up tall or walking forward over your front leg. For a more intense variation, making one leg 90 degrees in front, the other leg long behind you, and either placing a blanket underneath your bent leg or placing a block or book underneath the raised hip. Play around with it and see what feels best for you. The most important is making sure there's no pinching in the low back and that the hips do have sensation, but it's not so intense that it's unbearable. Also make sure that if you have one of the bent knee positions, that your top foot is flexed to protect the bent knee. Wherever you are, either on your back or in the pigeon position, feel the hips begin to melt. If you feel comfortable, you can begin to walk yourself down either onto blocks using your forearms or completely lying down. If this at all feels uncomfortable or too intense at any time, please back out of the posture. Keep breathing. Coming back to the breath if the mind has wandered away, especially if the sensations are really intense, move back to your mantra or your counting breath, imagining the breath sending into the hips. Keep breathing. A few more breaths here. One last deep breath in and let it go. Wherever you are, taking some time to press yourself up, and whenever you're in an upright position, take a breath here. Several ways to get out of this, either rolling onto one side and allowing the legs to come out wide, windshield wipering the legs, or pressing yourself back into a child's pose or tabletop position. Take your time, there's no rush here. Whenever you're ready, gently move to the other side, setting it up, whichever position was most comfortable to you on the other side. Also remember, we're not symmetrical, so one side might be more comfortable or uncomfortable than the other. Remember, you can be on your back, one leg bent. You can be in a Z sit, walking yourself forward, or one leg bent and the back leg long behind you. Find what feels best for you, placing props underneath hips and legs when necessary, taking care of the front knee in whichever position you're in, breathing. And whenever you've settled in, either staying here or inhaling tall and walking yourself long, placing the arms on the ground, forearms or blocks. If the pose is becoming really intense, come back to the breath, come back to your body, and see if you can soften whatever might be tensing up. Keep breathing, feeling the belly rise and fall. You're almost there. Taking a few last breaths here, seeing if any last thing can melt. Go ahead and taking one last deep breath in here. Whenever you're ready, begin to press yourself back up. And wherever you are, whenever you're tall, take a breath. And coming out of the pose however is most comfortable to you, either rolling onto one side or moving into tabletop position. Take a few moments to shake it out here and move around. Remember, we are in no rush. And finally, whenever you've shaken everything out, moving onto our backs. Bringing your knees into your chest and rolling around here for a few moments. Go ahead and bring the right knee in and left leg long. And switch. Moving into happy baby. You can either take the full expression, but I'm going to skip it here. The full expression would be placing the hands on top of the feet and pressing the feet into the hands, and at the same time pressing the tailbone down, allowing the elbows to help open up the knees a little bit. I'm just going to reach down and grab my ankles, legs bent in between my legs. Staying here, just rocking from side to side, letting everything release. Seeing if the body and the breath can slow down here. As you're laying here, feeling your whole body begin to slow down. The breath slowed down, heart rate slowed down if it was elevated, and the whole body beginning to sink. Belly rise and fall nice and easy, barely any effort needed. Taking 2 last breaths here. And release, setting the feet down. Begin to windshield wiper the legs from side to side. And whenever the legs are on the right, either keeping them there, stacking the knees, or roll completely over to the side and open the chest back up again. You can place a pillow in between your knees or underneath both of your knees. Find what you need to feel the most support here. With every exhale, feel the body begin to get heavier and heavier. and notice the mind. See if it's gotten any slower. It's okay if it hasn't. See if you can come back to your body and breath, not judging whatever it is there that you see. Go ahead and take a few last breaths here, feeling the belly rise and fall, feeling your body heavy here on your mat. Whenever you're ready, gently bringing one knee up and then the other, windshield wipering the legs from side to side. And whenever you're ready, allowing the legs to float to the other side, stacking the knees here, maybe rolling completely over to your side, and then opening your chest back up again. Placing the props where it's needed. With every exhale, feel the body begin to relax and get heavier and heavier. Taking 2 last breaths here. Let it go. Slowly bringing one knee up and then the other. Windshield wipering the legs. And finally coming into final relaxation posture. If it's uncomfortable for you to be on your back for long periods of time, feel free to modify, maybe going into a child's pose or into a side twist pose. On your back, feel free to put some blankets or pillows underneath your knees, or maybe a blanket underneath your head. Remember that you are not stuck here in whatever position that you choose. You're welcome to move, fidget, whatever you need. Take some time to set up the position that feels right for you. Whenever you've settled in, let it all go. We've had the breath have so many rules, the mind have rules even. Just let it go and still feel how easy the belly rises and falls. Check back once again into your mind and see, is it fast, is it slow, deep or shallow? And whatever we find there, Just let it be how it is. Remembering that your breath is always there and always available to you to bring you back into this present moment and this present awareness. With every exhale, feeling all the points in contact with the ground sink deeper and deeper. Imagining a warm, weighted blanket moving slowly up your toes, feet, ankles, shins and calves, knees, thighs. And maybe on a deep breath in and a sigh out, the legs become heavy, dead weight. Feeling the belly rise and fall, and the chest let go. Right arm let go. Left arm let go. Moving all the way up the chest, the neck, and the face, releasing the tongue from the roof of the mouth. The cheek muscles slide down the face, eyes heavy in their sockets. And finally, the space in between the eyebrows lets go, as if someone placed their thumb there. Just be here for the next several breaths. Slowly begin to feel your breath again, lengthening the inhales, deepening the exhales, becoming aware of your body here in this space. Whenever you're ready, taking the thumb to touch every finger, as if it was your very first time moving. Wiggle fingers and toes. And when you're ready, taking a full body stretch. Bending the knees and rolling onto one side or the other. Taking a moment here to thank yourself for coming onto your mat, for taking time for you. Seal it in with a breath. Keeping your eyes closed as soft as best you can, begin to find an easy seat, not caring too much what it looks like, just finding somewhere comfortable. Whenever you're here, hands can be down on the knees for more grounding, or up for a little bit more energy. Inhale the spine long. Exhale the sits bones into the ground. We'll close out class with some deep cleansing breaths. That's a deep inhale and a deep sigh out. Go ahead and exhale wherever you are. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. One more. Let it go. Beautiful. Hands come to heart center. And I leave you with this. May you all be safe and free from suffering, happy and healthy. May you have ease of being. Thank you so much.